Hello everybody and welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. We're going over the book by John Maxwell, Thinking for a Change. So before we jump into the next chapter, we're going to go ahead and invite some people onto here.
Chapter 9. Where did it go? Chapter 9.
Alright, now I got it.
Select all, copy. So anyway, I emailed them to myself and then I put them in my notes because if you know anything about Apple, they used to be amazing, and now they're just okay. So they constantly update that scrolling, and all of a sudden you'll be reading, and then all of a sudden it'll update, and it'll be gone. So here we go. Chapter 9, which is actually skill 7, I believe, because they're like 2 chapters off from the chapter they're on to the skill they're on. It says, feeling the energy of possibility thinking. It says, nothing is so embarrassing as watching someone do something that you said could not be done. Sam Ewing. You should, or why should you become a possibility thinker? John has, of course, a bunch of reasons. 1, possibility thinking increases your possibilities. Obviously makes sense. 2, it says possibility thinking draws opportunities and the people to you. So when you start thinking that way and you start doing those things, you don't attract what you are, or I'm sorry, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So when they say thoughts are things and the things you think about become what you go do, that's, I think, what he's talking about. It says people who think big attract big people to them. And that's actually a Maxwell quote. Possibility thinking increases others' possibilities. So the people around you actually benefit from this. It says you can't help but become more confident and thinking bigger when you're around possibility thinkers. So, you become like who you hang out with. The reason you may think that things can't happen is because everybody around you isn't making things happen. Especially when it comes to direct sales, you want to get around people who see it like you see it. To be around a bunch of entrepreneurs can sometimes be insane. But at the same time, those are the people. It's sometimes the insane people. I know Steve Jobs used to say that, and sometimes the insane people that come up with the ideas that change the world. So it's okay to be around them for a limited period of time. So possibility thinking allows you to dream big dreams. It says big thinkers are specialists in creating positive, forward-looking, optimistic pictures in their own mind and in the minds of others. So that's Dr. David Schwartz, actually, from The Magic of Thinking Big, which is another book we should really go over. Might want to write that one down. I was going to say put it on your phone, but no, that's not. We'll do it another time. Anyway, possibility thinking makes it possible to rise above average. And then 6, possibility thinking gives you the energy. It says the real difference between men is energy. A strong will, a settled purpose, an invincible determination can accomplish almost anything, and in it lies the distinction between great men and little men. That was King Charles of England. So, it says you invest yourself in what you believe you can succeed. So if you don't think you can do it, you're usually not going to go work at it. So belief is so big. I learned this actually inside of direct sales about 10 years ago, working with a gentleman who had built to $147,000 as an 18-year-old. Maybe it was 142. It was 140 something. $140,000 as a senior in high school, which is a lot of money now. But I mean, this was, 20 some years ago when he did it. He went on to become a millionaire in the next company. He was a millionaire by 21, or made $1 million by 21. Moved to Hawaii, and then since then he's been in several other companies. Made $1 million in each one, by the way, which is crazy. In about 24 months, it took him somewhere between 24 to 36 months to make $1 million in each one of the companies he was in, which makes me want to punch him in the face hard. He was around the right people who taught him exactly what to say, what to do, when to do it, and he just followed instructions, and he was just like, okay, that's what we'll do. And that's what helped build the belief. But my point to that is he was one of the best at getting people to believe in themselves. I mean, if we just taught that in school by itself, that would be much better. Possibility thinking keeps you from giving up. It says the winners in life think consistently in terms of I can, I will, I am. Losers, on the other hand, concentrate all their waking thoughts on what they should have done or what they don't do. That was Dr. Dennis Waitley, which is another great guy. If you believe you can do something, you've already won much of the battle. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you probably won't. So how to feel the energy of possibility thinking. It says, question, how many highly successful people do you know that are continually negative? Most people who are accomplishing stuff you usually don't find are extremely negative. Now, they might be passionately hateful towards certain things. They probably don't like average. They probably don't like mediocre. They probably don't like people whining and crying, and they might say something of it, but like consistently is what we're talking about. Do they see everything pessimistic? Do they go, because I mean, if you've ever been around this person that's like, oh, my car sucks, and then you go to eat and you're like, this restaurant sucks, my food sucks, my food's cold. Like everything is always bad, no matter what it is. Well, these clothes don't fit, they're designer, and it's always somebody else's fault, not the fact that they keep picking shit that they don't like. It's okay. So, number one, stop focusing on impossibilities. Stop focusing on impossibilities. It says, I tell people, if you want to get into positive thinking, it's okay. Just eliminate all the negative thoughts in your mind, and whatever's left over will be just fine. And some people, what's left over is not much. But not much is good when it's not negative. It says, stay away from the experts. The word impossible is not in my dictionary, Napoleon Bonaparte. So what he's talking about is staying away from the experts is sometimes it's experts that aren't in the field you're in. If you go to, a business professor and say, hey, I'm going to go build a direct sales company. Most business professors that I talk to, because I did talk to them, they were against it. Why? Because their entire training is to get you to be an employee. Like that's what their training is built for. That's what their expertise is in. So sometimes people go for expertise. It's, and I'm going to say this as nice as possible. I have people that go for weight loss, and they'll go talk to an expert about, weight loss, and the person is out of shape, overweight, and on more medication than they are. And I'm like, you're probably not getting advice from the right person. Oh, but I went to the expert. Oh, okay. So is it the expert in your field of study is my point. And sometimes people confuse that. I was like, that person isn't an expert in nutrition. That person obviously isn't an expert in keeping themselves in shape. Take advice from the people who have what you want. Don't take advice from people who are more screwed up than you are. And that's actually John Addison said that. Look for possibilities in every situation. So you want to find a way out no matter what. It's looking for positive possibilities despite the circumstances. And that's what it really boils down to. Despite your circumstances. So your car broke down. So what good could happen? Well, you've been complaining about not being able to find anybody, and now you have to go find somebody to give you a ride. So have you talked to them about what you do in business? And then you have to be creative because, right, your car broke down, you need a ride. I've contacted people under those circumstances that eventually got in. They didn't get in during the middle of a crisis that I'm going through, but they eventually got in. They're like, wow, I've seen you improve so much. I remember when I had to come pick you up. I remember when you didn't have a car. I remember when you didn't have a place. I remember when you didn't. Dream one size bigger. I thought this was really good. It says one of the best ways to cultivate possibility mindset is prompt yourself to dream one size bigger than you normally do. It's dreaming bigger and wanting something just a little bit more. So I was taught inside of the company that I was in when I first started is you constantly want to set the next goal. You constantly want to have the next dream. And the reason being is success is, the continual pursuit of worthwhile goals and dreams. The problem is most people set a goal and get there and then they've achieved it. And you see this all the time in Hollywood and, in sports and everything else. Their dream was to get to the movies, and now they're at the movies and they didn't have another dream beyond that. Also, sometimes they're hollow in 1/3 of their life because, we have 3 dimensions to our lives, for those of you who believe that. If you don't believe that, when you get there, you'll understand. He says you got to have a bag dream. A bag dream is big, hairy, audacious goals. Question the status quo. So this comes about being average, being mediocre. It says achievers refuse to accept the status quo. Most people I know of who make things happen don't want to be just doing what everybody else is doing. They have to do more. They have to do it consistently. What's up, Marty? It's happening out in California. I heard that if you move out of California, they're trying to pass a bill that they're going to try to tax you out of state for the next 10 years.
Oh my God.
Good luck with that. Find inspiration from great achievers. You can learn a lot about possibility thinking by studying the great achievers. And that's really what I would tell more and more people to do is if you really want to figure things out, you want to study the best people in the field. You want to understand why they do what they do, how they do what they do, what is their pattern, what is their methodology. So I spent an enormous amount of time studying the people who I felt were getting the greatest results inside the industry. I constantly do this. I was like, why is that guy who led that company, why was he so popular with people? What did he talk about? How did he present himself? And here's the thing, you'll find that most of the people who attracted the most people weren't the most polished. A lot of times, they weren't the most polished. They said things that were almost offensive, borderline offensive. I mean, I can tell you a couple guys. A.O. Williams, who's no longer in the business, was borderline offensive to a lot of people. A lot of people didn't like him. But he didn't care. He became a billionaire in the industry. Took a company from 0 to about 2.5 million salespeople, about $350 billion in assets, if I remember the numbers right. Beat number 2 and number 3 combined in his field. Like he didn't just go out to do it; he went out to annihilate them, and did very well at doing it. So, possibility thinking, going after achievement, forgetting the status quo, doing more than what's required. Doing more than what's required. So if what's required is just showing up, you need to show up excited. If what's required is showing up being excited, take notes. John talks a lot about, and in the next chapter he's going to go into this, where he talks about reviewing. He's like, so many people have experiences, but they don't go back and review the experiences. What did you learn? What did you learn and what can you use? Meaning, like out of the notes that you take from the events you go to and the people that you talk to, what can you use out of what you just learned? And then you're consistently getting better and consistently getting better and consistently getting better. And you're just working super, super hard to make yourself a better version of who you were yesterday. The only person you're competing against every day is you. Can you make yourself better? Can you get a little bit sharper, a little bit better, a little bit more enthusiastic? Sometimes that's it. I mean, everybody's doing everything right. I'm like, you're just not putting enough energy into it, so people don't believe you're serious. There's a lot of people who approach people in direct sales and network marketing, and again, it's possibility thinking. They believe that it's here's an interesting thing. They believe that the leaders that are at the top of these companies don't have the issues that they have. They believe that they don't have problems. They believe that they don't have the same challenges. Oh, well, you don't understand because blah, 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 blah. In some cases, I've met leaders that have more challenges than you. I've met leaders who are in worse financial situations than you. Starting out, I mean, obviously, once they're made it to the top, they don't have the same things. But like, I can't remember which guy it was, but he went up and he's like, I'm just going to give you some stuff that's going on. And he talked about cars breaking down for family members. He goes, here's the difference. Cars still break down for family members because the difference is now I can write a check and pay for it. Now when somebody calls, I don't have to think, oh my gosh, they're going to want to borrow my car. He's like, I have 10. Take one. I don't care. That's a different situation to be in. Nice situation to be in. He's like, people still get sick. He's like, here's what's going on. And I mean, it was wild. Like, one person was going through cancer and chemotherapy. One person had just passed away. Another person had and this wasn't recent. This was years ago. I mean, he was dealing with like 3 or 4 people in his family that were all sick at the same time. He's like, and we're going for hospital visits and blah, 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 blah. But that month, he had recruited a bunch of people. That month, his team had grown. He goes, because I put in the work early. I put in the work when all this stuff was going on regardless. He goes, and now I'm the one being able to help everybody. For a while, I had to be the one telling everybody, I can't make it. I can't be there. I'm not coming to the bar mitzvah. I'm not coming to the birthday party. I'm not coming to the, because I've got to work my business. I've got to build what I'm doing. I work my full-time job, and then after that, I work my business. And, being around possibility thinkers, they can start teaching you how to fit that in. So, that's what I got for this chapter. It's 11:50. So, we're wrapping up a little bit early. Tomorrow is chapter 10, another skill. Portland, Oregon's calling me. I think that's John Maxwell's team. It's either John Maxwell's team, Grant Cardone's team, or what's the other one that always calls me? Oh no, it's another one that's fun. They always leave me. Ron LeGrand, real estate. So.
All right. Well, if you guys would like these notes, if you haven't already, go join the group of MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group. We're going to be posting these notes to the wall every single day, and tomorrow is Wednesday.
Skill 7, chapter 10.
And tomorrow is Wednesday, so the show will be on Bess's page, and that's Bess McCarty, and she will be doing the show tomorrow, and we will be seeing you on Thursday. So with that, that's what we have for you, and we will see you then.